On today's show, we celebrate the work of Minnesota-bound photojournalist Ben Elling. Find out what it's like to document wild outdoor stories. And a hunting adventure that happens to be very close to Ben's family's hearts.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hi everybody, Bill and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
Joining us today, Minnesota-bound photojournalist Ben Elling. He shoots many of the stories that you see in the show.
And today we're going to share some of Ben's favorite adventures. But Ben, how long have you been shooting stories now?
Wow, it's going on 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This first story of yours, it's kind of dear to your heart.
Yeah, one of my favorite places with some of my favorite people doing my favorite thing. Both fat biking and hunting definitely have this kind of peaceful, tranquil feeling. When you're out on the trail, you're kind of in your own little world. Especially when you're in this atmosphere with all these trees and the wildlife around you. You just kind of get warped into it.
In the winter, Itasca State Park is beautiful. I enjoy it more in the winter just because of the beauty of the snow and the backdrop of the trees. My name's John Elling. I've been coming to Itasca State Park since 1984. I've been mountain biking since the early 90s. The fat bikes kind of reinvigorated my appetite for mountain biking and just kind of a different aspect of mountain biking. It's very enjoyable.
My name is Joe Elling. I've been mountain biking since I was little, since I can't even remember. We got the fat bikes a couple years back, and we kind of put two and two together, put two of my favorite things together. Now we're biking in Itasca and hunting and loving every minute of it.
This weekend is the final weekend of the regular deer season in the state park. Public hunting land is important because then everyone has an equal opportunity. This is 32,000 acres of Itasca State Park, and it is a rifle deer hunting zone, so anybody can come and get a license and then hunt the regular season in the park. And the state park, you know, it has a lot of recreational opportunities.
I'm hunting with my dad and my grandpa, Ed Elling. He's the captain of the whole crew.
That's what I've been told. To me, it's relaxing. You get out of the city and you get away from work, and it's just a place you can just sit back and relax and maybe even fall asleep.
Hunting with three generations is unique. My dad got me started early, taught me how to hunt, the do's and don'ts. And then I got to introduce my kids to hunting, and so we got to hunt together, and I think that's special. It's something we share, and I would say tradition kind of brings me back every year.
have gotten Ed on a bike before, and it didn't go so well.
I'd need training wheels. What's nice about that is you don't get so doggone cold like I'm sitting here.
Benefit of the fat bike is it's got a wider footprint, so it's more stable in snow. You can actually ride with a rifle on your back. It's also, you get to hear and see what's going on when you're riding through the park. It gives you a unique perspective. Riding while you're hunting, of course, is safety first, so you have to always think about that. Some of the other trails, the snowmobile trails and so forth, can get a little bit technical, but if you're an experienced rider, it's certainly something you can do.
You're definitely kind of just focused on the task at hand, you know, safety, finding deer, and enjoying nature. So it's kind of this peaceful experience that's just unlike anything else.
I think adding the fat bikes to hunting is a tradition we'll carry on going forward. I think it combines two favorite hobbies, and I really enjoy it.
Am I going to keep fat biking and hunting? Oh, absolutely. As long as I can. As long as I can.
Coming up, a commute to work that just fits this guy, all in the name of sharing his story.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Coors Light, Ice Castle Fish House and RV, and by White Bear Lake Superstore.
Today we share a few of photojournalist Ben Elling's favorite Minnesota Bound stories.
Yeah, this next story, I remember when it was assigned, you were pretty excited to get out and shoot.
Yeah, this is a fun one. We got to follow Ben Weaver on he's got a pretty cool commute to work, so check it out.
Pedaling can be a powerful thing. On a summer day, Ben Weaver rolls south.
The bike is one of the few places where I can just be with my thoughts, and sometimes I don't even need to know what those thoughts are. I just need to let them kind of flow through me, I guess.
Here in the country, Ben's bike provides the rhythm. Pedaling powers the tempo. See, Ben rides his bike 93 miles to work.
So next stop, Winona. I think it's about 25 miles or something.
A day ride from St. Paul to Winona for this self-described athlete and artist.
Those things have always been like really strong forces in my life, and I just chose to let them coexist.
The bike explains sport. The artist thing, well, take a closer look at its ride.
I always rode my bike, so I just decided, what if I just start riding to my shows? And it just kind of evolved from there. You know, sometimes I end up riding a lot of pavement, but the kind of goal and where I love to be is to find ways to connect communities through dirt, and that's why a lot of my shows I end up playing in small rural communities that don't necessarily have music. Thanks. Twisting and turning every road you go down. Late in the evening, like bees moving pollen around.
So Ben's music and his poetry really looks at our natural environment, our ecosystem, and really tries to make connections between people and their environment.
And I talk to the wolf.
So there's a great fit between what Ben does and his music and his poetry, and we do with visual art here at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum.
Don't lose the roots for the sake of the branch. Don't let the river slip out through the cracks. You know, we live in incredibly disconnected and challenging times. My hope is that the words offer a chance to reconnect. Like blackbirds sitting on the back porch.
Words about water and woods and prairies. Songs that connect people to the places they live. And yes, he always tries to ride to his shows.
The first really long trip I did, I rode from St. Paul, where I live, to New Orleans.
In 2018, Ben actually rode North America's Great Divide Bike Trail, a 3,000-mile trek from Banff, Canada to the Mexico border. He played 16 shows along the way, while a filmmaker documented the trip.
I'm not special, I just was inspired and made a choice to follow through with that inspiration.
His fans seem to get it.
I liked his music.
I liked the music, I liked the message, and it's inspiring that he wrote everything himself, the songs and the poetry.
A Minnesota man who chose his own road to success. A wordsmith who refuses to just sit still.
If you don't want to be sitting in an office all day, like, you don't have to. You can figure something out. I feel like my songs and my path speaks to that. We're closer, I always wanna be.
Now that is a cool story.
Yeah, thank you. That was a fun one. Ben biked about 100 miles, so I had another photographer kind of helping me leapfrog ahead so I could stay ahead, but it was a fun day.
Great story. Coming up after the break, another of your favorites, probably one of your toughest assignments too.
Yeah, for sure, and probably also one of the most important ones I've done here.
Closed captioning provided by Star Bank.
Each year we try and highlight the, what I'll call, award-winning work of our photojournalists.
Ben Elling has been on our team for almost 10 years, and this next story is a doozy.
Yeah, we decided to really dig into a proposed copper nickel mine up on the edge of the Boundary Waters.
Yeah, and we tried to be objective, right, to share both sides of the story, but it's no secret we care about clean water and our woods.
Ely's 130-year mining tradition lies in iron ore, the raw stock of steel. But Ely's new proposed copper mine would change that history. Twin Metals project would introduce a more volatile form of mining, what experts call sulfide extraction, a process well proven to be very hard on Earth's environment.
Sulfide or copper mining is a threat to this area, not only for that, but also the robust economy, outdoor economy that, this place supports too.
The beauty of our area brings people here, right? This mine can help support living wages to keep people here year-round and enjoy this area. That's important.
This is Ground Zero, a beautiful place. This is exactly where Twin Metals hopes to someday be mining, right here underground. And no matter which side of this debate you're on, the question remains, is it worth the risk?
Our strong stance is no, absolutely no. It's not worth it. We have strong economic studies and science-based studies that are all peer-reviewed that are also saying the same thing.
We keep this place clean. Our jobs are sustainable. Mining is absolutely never sustainable. The resource goes away. It gets used up. How can it be sustainable?
You have 20% of the fresh water in the entire national forest system here, and 3 million acres in the Superior National Forest. It would be a huge mistake if we did anything to threaten this area right now.
That was just part of the episode, but such a wonderful story.
Yeah, and one that'll probably continue for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, it's time to go from debate to the holiday season. See what I did there?
Yeah, after the break, another one of my favorite stories that's a little more on the spooky side.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Midwest Exteriors MM, Warner's Dock, and by Totem Resorts.
Today we celebrate favorite stories through the lens of photojournalist Ben Elling.
Up next, a fun fall shoot in trout country.
Yeah, this next one, Bill and I headed down to Red Wing to visit one of Minnesota's most haunted places.
Ooh.
Fall has a funny effect on Minnesota. Let's just say it's scary how pretty bluff country becomes on autumn days. Ryan McCabe and I celebrate the last days of trout season.
Nice cast, come on.
On a small, meandering stream outside Red Wing, Minnesota.
That's fun. That's fun.
But the trout are being spooky. Hard to come by today. Ghosts. Boo. Oh. So much fun.
Our end-of-season fishing tradition
That is a dandy little trout.
includes a quick stop back in town. You see, in the 1800s, Red Wing laid claim as the world's busiest wheat market. This town needed a hotel, so builders got to work. In an establishment this old and this grand, stories certainly creep in over time.
We do have quite a few people that have had experiences.
Hotel historian Scott Hansen volunteered to host us. Well, after hours.
310 is the room that gets the most reports of paranormal activity. It's just something you feel when you're, in certain buildings.
See, some guests seem convinced they see ghosts.
The majority of it centers around Clara.
Clara Lilleblad started bussing tables here in 1914. She eventually ran the hotel until her death in 1972. Some guests say Clara never left.
We had one couple that were convinced that they saw her sitting in the chair when they woke up in the middle of the night.
The spooky story started long before Clara. Workers stopped construction of the original hotel in 1875 after discovering mysterious Indian burial grounds. Shortly after the hotel opened, a July storm swamped the steamship Sea Wing on nearby Lake Pepin. More than 100 people drowned. Investigators used the St. James basement as a temporary morgue. Tonight,
is there a ghost here?
Eric Moen
Let's start with this.
might help find answers.
This is a K2 meter which measures electromagnetic fields. We're talking about residual hauntings. So many people coming and going throughout the years, it creates like an emotional energy.
Eric finds his energy and his true interest in this hotel.
If I were a ghost, I'd love to hang out in an old hotel like this that's been so well maintained. So pay attention to the back.
He and his wife Amy married at the St. James just 1 week before we shot this story.
Here we go. We're getting something already.
Yeah, I hit it to yellow.
Together, they hunt in haunted buildings.
In all honesty, coming through that door, I was not liking this. So pay attention real closely to cold areas, the hair on the back of your neck standing up, that creepy feeling.
If ghosts do exist,
Is there someone here with us?
Eric and Amy hope to unravel their mystery.
I don't know, you tell me. Is this place haunted?
Those questions remain unanswered. But count on this. The St. James endures as Minnesota's most iconic hotel, nestled right in the heart of bluff country.
This is a crown jewel of Minnesota.
It's a step back into history, although we have all modern conveniences. Gives you an experience of what it was like to stay in a 19th century hotel.
Come visit sometime, if you dare.
So we all want to know, did you see a ghost?
No, I didn't, but I did drive home that night and probably a little faster than usual.
I love it.
I don't blame you.
Well, thanks for your craft and keep up the good work, Ben.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
And as we say every week, Ben,
don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
That's right.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433.